Started. So thank you for joining us. Today we're going to be demonstrating some of the best recent features which have come to Dynamics 365 with a particular focus on CRM. So the Wave 1 updates of 2021 are just around the corner. So we're going to cover some exciting features which you should be expecting and much more. So we're currently in a world where most of us are still working remotely. So having a platform which enables you to do this efficiently is essential, and these updates will bring even more functionality to your teams. As well as this, we'll show you some great features which will really bring the most out of your workforce as we begin to go on the road again. So ultimately, the aim of this webinar is to demonstrate some features which will bring some benefit to your business, regardless of how you are using Dynamics at the moment. By the end of this, we hope you can take something away which will add to your Dynamics 365 experience. So on to the webinar. First, let me introduce you the team that will be presenting today. So my name is Will McCrossan, and I'm a technical sales consultant at City Dynamics. I've been at City Dynamics for 6 months as of yesterday, which has gone surprisingly quickly. I may have worked with some of you, but if not, then I hope to have the chance to work with you all soon. I'll be joined by 3 of my colleagues today, most of which you would have had the pleasure of working with. But first, we have Yash Sond and Sam Goodwin, 2 of our excellent technical consultants. And last but not least, we have our fantastic service engineer, David Brooks. I promise we're the same people as in these pictures. We are all just in desperate need of a haircut. So let me give you a quick agenda of what to expect over the next hour. So across this webinar, we will give you an overview of some great updates and features which you can use to make the most of your business processes. First of all, Yash will start off by demonstrating the new Dynamics 365 Sales mobile app. So this is an excellent way to keep on top of your business wherever you may be, and new features have really enhanced the user experience by making it even more user-friendly. After this, Sam will give you an overview of some other newly released updates which you may have missed, including those which we previewed in our last webinar on Wave 2 of 2020, such as the global search function. Yash will then follow up on this by demonstrating some great new features which have come to customer voice. There are also some great features from Wave 1 of 2021 which are yet to be released, and David will give you an overview of these and some great updates to look out for in the future, including some exciting ones with Microsoft Teams. We will then explain what the next steps look like for you, notably how to enable these features on your system, when these will all be enforced by Microsoft, and how we can help you through this process. And then finally, we'll also show you some ways in which you can enhance your business processes using other applications, integrations, and add-ins available to you through Dynamics. This will also include an overview of the Power Platform and the many ways it can benefit your business. So throughout the webinar, if you do have any questions for us, then please use the chat function or the Q&A function on this event. David will then be able to go through those with you in the Q&A section towards the end. So make sure you stick around for that. I will now pass over to Yash, who will be able to demonstrate the Dynamics 365 Sales mobile app to you.
Thank you very much, Will. So the new Dynamics 365 Sales app will be available to iOS and Android devices soon. So the main purpose of the Sales app is that it will allow customers to be able to build great customer relationships, to keep up to date with their customers as well, up to date with their data, and to be able to access any information they need from the Dynamics 365 platform at any given time. So in our first example here, we can use the Dynamics 365 app to be able to create contacts and manage your overall sales cycle. So in this scenario here, we're coming out of a meeting and we just met a few new faces. So we just want to add them as a contact within our Dynamics 365 platform to keep our database as up to date as possible. So in this scenario, we're able to create a contact. We'll be able to view the contact instantly, as shown here, and be able to view all your fields. So if you have custom fields, for example, in your Dynamics 365 platform, you can view all those fields within the app, and then you can also quick create an opportunity from that contact. So in this example here, this could be when you're leaving an event and you just gain some new leads and opportunities that you just want to log in straight away. So you're able to access all of this within the app. You can also plan your day using calendars. So if your organization currently has an Outlook to Dynamics 365 synchronization, then you would have already experienced the extra agility in being able to track your meetings and track your mails to opportunities, and to also be able to have a view of all of your upcoming meetings to your Dynamics 365 web application. This interface is now available onto the Sales app. So as we can see here, we're able to see all your upcoming meetings, as well as the extra information that goes along with that. So, for example, we have a meeting here that's coming up. We're able to view all of the attendees from the meeting, as well as the opportunity that it relates to. You can be able to see the information such as the pipeline phase, estimated revenue. You can open up the opportunity. You can also keep up to date with contact information, such as activities on a particular contact. What was your last call? What was your last call regarding? And whereabouts, whereabouts are they from? What are their interests? So you can have all of those insights within the single platform, so you're able to keep as up to date as possible and as prepared as possible. So we mentioned that the core focus is around sales and the sales app. However, the Dynamics 365 sales app also expands across your other Dynamics 365 applications. So here's an example of the Dynamics 365 sales app being able to reach to your project service app, for instance, where I'm able to create time entries on the go. So with this, I'm able to create a time entry, able to approve time entry if you're a time entry project approver. You're also able to create expenses as well as approving expenses as well. So this platform is not only just limited to the sales experience, it touches all areas of the Dynamics platform. So it also works for case management as well. So here we just created the time entry and we have just submitted it. Great. So in my next example, I just want to show you a bit more details around the navigation of the actual interface itself. So here in the first screen, you'll be presented with your recent contacts. So the recent contacts is interesting because not only does it works in the recent contacts that you've been working on your sales app, but also on your Dynamics 365 web application. So if I'm on my browser and I'm just working on a particular contact, filling in some information such as a note, for instance, about a meeting that I just had with a contact, I'm able to go straight to my app. If I'm on my way to meet the contact, I've just exited a meeting from that contact, I'm able to see my phone, be able to go straight to my recent contact as it's the first thing that will appear, and then be able to update any relevant information. We can also do the same with recent records. So this applies for opportunities. If you're going down the project service route, it also applies for projects. So you can view all your recent projects that you've been working on, cases as well. So you can view all your recent records from work that you've been working on your sales app once again, or on the Dynamics 365 web application. We can take advantage of reminders and AI insights as well. So we'll be able to have a quick snapshot of all of our reminders and insights. So reminders can include such as the examples here of opportunities closing soon. So this is based on the estimated close date field on the opportunity. So it'll be able to tell you when an opportunity is about to close and when an action should take place. And then you can also have insights. Now, this is going back to what we just spoke about earlier with that synchronization between Dynamics 365 and Outlook, and where you can actually gain insights such as email contains a potential lead or an email is requesting an attachment or a file. So you can view all that within the home screen. And now the navigation is all new. So this navigation here, we're able to instantly see our meetings on the bottom task. We're able to see use the elastic search functionality, which is also the same global search functionality that Sam would be demonstrating later on today. And then when you go to more, you can also view your other entities. But the main point here is the plus button in the middle. So here you can add a quick note, or you can quickly create a contact. So the quick note functionality, that essentially just adds a note activity to a particular contact. So when you click the note, you'll be able to instantly write in any relevant information that you can. So once again, this is another example where you just finished a meeting and you just want to make a quick note on your phone without actually having to open your laptop up or go into the web application itself. You can quickly create a note and then you can attach it to a relevant record. Could be a contact, could be an opportunity, could be any entity that you need to. So that's really the overall scope of the sales application. So what I'd like to talk about here is how it differs from the actual web application, and essentially what Microsoft has done is that they've used the same new unified interface and they've made it mobile friendly. So as we can see here, we have two leads. One lead on the right hand side is your standard web application, which has a business process flow where you can access all your options as well and all your fields. And here on the left hand side, we have the exact same form, same business process flow, able to access the same functionality. You can also run custom workflows, such as you can run a Power Automate flow from the mobile app. So an example which we'll be showing you later on is that we can possibly send out surveys from a mobile app using Power Automate, and that can all be done on the go on the go with on the click of a button. So your data will be with you all the time. So what I'd like to do now is just pass you over to Sam, who's going to talk to you a bit more just around the newly released updates. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Yash. So yeah, as Yash mentioned, I'm going to talk about some recent newly released updates. So these are all things which you can enable right now and you can get to using immediately. And we've just highlighted a handful which we think are most useful, most pertinent, which could really improve your business processes. So let me just hop over to my demo environment. So yeah, as Yash mentioned again, the global search function might be the most immediately obvious change here. So whereas previously you had your search over here and it was you chose between categorized and relevant search, in this new effort to keep things unified and simple, we have this global search function which is in the middle, and it's improved in quite a few ways. So let's demonstrate that. So if we go search wave 2, for example, you can see that my relevant opportunity comes up here. But also something clever which it does is it finds near matches. So if you misspell this slightly or something like that, or if you're searching for a contact and there might be duplicates which haven't been detected by the system, this uses new Microsoft Intelligence to find similar matches, basically, so more similar to other search engines, for example. So this is really useful if you're searching through a load of John Smiths and some of them are misspelt, for example. You can get your full list of similar contacts. So let's hop into show more results. So this is our full search results screen if you want to get into more detail. As you can see at the top, it splits it into different entities, and then we've got some simple details on each of these records. Also, if we go into opportunities, for example, you can see my opportunity, and we also have these custom filters which are changed and custom fit to each entity. So, for example, Microsoft have chosen like estimated revenue and estimated close date as pretty relevant to opportunities, which makes a lot of sense. So you can really quickly and easily filter by those to get a really specific view if you're looking for a very specific record. So I think this is a lot cleaner and simpler than before. The other thing I want to show you is that it searches on all these columns. So if we search for Aberdeen Motors, for example, and we go to our opportunities, we can see all the Aberdeen Motors opportunities, as well as the account on the account tab, for example. So this is really a nice way of simplifying the search, and also the fact it comes up here really quickly. It could save you a lot of time when searching for things. So I'd highly recommend, if you're not currently using this, to look into enabling it, and we'll talk a bit more about how you can do that at the end. But let's go into this opportunity for now to show you this next feature. So this is a thing which I talked about in the last webinar briefly, but it's been fully expanded now, so I wanted to go into it again. So this is the ability to add multiple products at once to an opportunity. So for example, here it's just next to the usual add product button. And what we had in previous versions was not this add products version, but just adding one product at a time. So obviously it saves a lot of time if you're adding multiple products at once to use this new enhanced method. And you might notice this is a bit different to last time because we've now expanded it to use the screen, so you can really get into detail and see everything which is going on. And they've improved it in a myriad of ways, like you're able to edit inline product details and things like that. So for example, here we have these different tabs. We've got products recently used, write-in and selected. So these are my list of products. If I select these, they'll come up on my selected and I can continue to make any edits. Recently used, obviously, is products which have been recently added to opportunities, etc. And with write-in, I can really quickly add a custom product. This saves a lot of time and saves a lot of moving between screens. It's all done in one place. Let's just give it a random price. And you can see the selected ones are what's going to be added to the opportunity. And if I just click add, I've missed a quantity here. It adds it quickly. The other thing about this is previously this was kind of, when it had just been added, it wasn't expanded to all entities, so it was just on opportunity. But now this is across all relevant records, so you can do this on opportunities, quotes, orders, and invoices. So at any stage you can add multiple products, and it's the same intuitive experience. So if you're using products and you are having to add them one at a time at the moment, I'd highly recommend looking into this. And if you're not using products because of the limitations of the previous system, it might be something to consider in the future, because it is a lot smoother now, I believe. The final thing I want to show you is the activities Kanban view. So again, Kanban views is something Microsoft have been focused on a little bit. So for example, before it's been added to opportunities, so you can move your opportunities between open, closed, and won, etc. But they've recently expanded it to activities too. So this could be really useful for a salesperson to keep track of all that activities in one really nice and visual place, and able to manage them as well. So instead of having to go into an activity, mark it as complete, come back out, etc., you have this simple view where, say, for example, I've made this sample phone call. I can literally drag it across to completed, state the reason, and close it, and it'll shift it across. So you can. It's a really nice way of keeping everything in one simple place. Making sure everything is very visible to your salespeople, for example. Yeah, and obviously it's just a lot more intuitive this way. You don't need to learn as much about Dynamics views and everything like that. Yeah, so that kind of summarizes the few features I was going to talk about. I'd now like to pass back to Yash to talk a bit about recent changes to customer voice.
Thank you very much, Sam. I'm just going to share my screen. Great. So what I'd like to talk about first, before we go into customer voice, is just about the upcoming changes to home.dynamics.com. So if you currently access your Dynamics 365 application using home.dynamics.com in your URL, you unfortunately will not be able to do so in the near future, as this will be deprecated. Instead, Microsoft are now adding your applications to office.com. So here I'm in Office 365. And in order for me to access my Dynamics applications, I can go to my business apps. I can see all my applications that I have here. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to view my recent applications by clicking the app launcher here and then navigate to the Sales Hub. Great. So what I'll do is let's take us straight into customer voice using the sitemap, and that will direct us straight to our customer voice surveys. So if you're present for our last webinar, we spoke a bit about customer voice and how it's an addition to the Dynamics 365 platform, as it allows you to increase your engagement with customers with personalized surveys and personalized emails. what I would like to talk about today is just some of the changes to help improve that customer engagement. So what I'd like to walk you through is just this survey here. So here is just a very standard periodic customer feedback. I have piped my first name of the contact, which I'll be launching the survey from, to this, so it's a bit more personalized. I've got my first question, which is just a 5-star rating question. The second question is a branching rule question. This is what we spoke about in our last webinar, but all it is just whenever a rating is given of 3 or less, the second question is going to pop up to ask a bit more information of why this negative score was received. The third question is just a liker, where you can answer the statements on how strongly agree or how strongly disagree you agree with each of the statements. And then the fourth question is a additional feedback question where clients can use to be able to add extra information to your survey. And fifth is just an NPS score. So the questions here, such as the ratings, the likers, and the NPS, it's quite simple for us to set up flows to be able to say whenever we have a score of less than 3, for example, for the first question, to send us an alert. But when it comes to the fourth question here about using text to be able to, if we get, let's say, a negative response in a text, it's difficult for us to use the static method to be able to say if this response is negative to be able to let us know. And the way Microsoft has got around this issue is by implementing artificial intelligence with customer voice. And this is done through something called sentiment analysis. So what I would like to do is show you how we can implement sentiment analysis, and I will send out a survey and give it a negative response, and hopefully we should be able to pick up that negative score and do some work with it. And so what we can do is I'm going to set up my sentiment analysis on this fourth question here. And to do that, all I need to do is go to my customization tabs, click on my satisfaction metrics. I can add my metric. I'm going to add the sentiment. I've given it a name, sentiment, and I'm going to choose the text question that it applies to. In this case, it's question 4. Save. Cancel. So now we've set up the sentiment analysis to work on that fourth question. Now the next step is what happens if we get a negative response. I want to be able to have an alert sent out to me to be able to say you've got a negative response. So to do that, you'll see that there's a new tab to our sitemap, which is alerts, and I can create an alert rule. So I'm just going to type in when a negative sentiment is received, create an alert. We'll spot that, and then I can just go to my sentiment. I can say the satisfaction metric is my sentiment, and that goes across both my surveys, which I have here, but I'm just going to be focusing on the periodic customer survey, as that's the one that I've set it up for. And I'm going to say whenever the sentiment is equal to negative, I have the option to say it's negative, it's neutral, or it's positive. But in my case, I'm just going to say it's negative. You may want to set up alerts for when it's positive, and I'll explain a bit more why you will want to do that after our example. So I'm going to press save and create this customer alert rule. Oops, 1 second. I'm just going to refresh my page. Let's go through the same steps once again. Create the alert rule. Satisfaction metric is sentiment. I'm just going to shorten the rule as it equals a negative. And now my alert has been successfully created. So what I'd like to do is send out a survey not from customer voice, but actually from Dynamics instead. So I'm just going to go to my Dynamics 365 platform and go to my contacts. So here I've got my active contacts. I've got myself here with my email address, and I've got 2 other contacts as well. So what I'd like to do is fire off a survey. So let's go to my name and let's go to flow, and let's once it loads, go to send feedback to contact. So what this is using Power Automate, which is part of the Power Platform. And using Power Automate, I'm able to send off and distribute surveys, and it's really easy to set up these Power Automated workflows. So in this case, I'm just going to choose a survey that I want to send out. I'm going to send out the periodic customer feedback and hit run flow. Brilliant. Done. So while we wait for that survey to get sent to my mailbox, I just want to talk you through a bit more about this Power Automate tool, because as you can see, I've sent out for one particular contact. However, I can also bulk select all my contacts. So here I've selected 50 odd contacts, and I can hit flow, and I can also send off that that feedback survey to my contact in the same manner. And that was just going to send out all 50 of my contacts that feedback survey. So now let's go into my contact and let's see what actually happens to the contact page when I send out a survey. So instantly we get an activity on our timeline. A timeline tells us that a survey invite from customer voice has been sent. So if I click into my record, I can see a couple of things. I can see that the survey invite status has been queued, which means that it has been sent, but I haven't actually opened it yet. So what I'm going to do, if I open up my mailbox, and if I share with you my mailbox here, I can see my survey has just been sent to me. If I click into my survey and I just let's mark this as I've read it, and I go back into Dynamics and I hit the refresh button, the survey invite status has now been set to red. And then when I start my survey, let's go back to my mailbox and let's start my survey. Let's give myself say 2 stars. I go back into Dynamics and I hit the refresh button. You can see that the invite status is now started. So what's great about this is that data is stored within the system, which means that you can build queries on when someone has read your email or for your survey invitation, and you can send out reminders. And you can also send out the same for if they, for example, started the survey invitation, the survey itself, but haven't completed. So this way you can build these set of rules and logic to be able to send out surveys at different situations, which is great. So now let's go into my survey and let's start filling this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start filling out some information. I'm just going to say neutral for some of these. I'm going to disagree with some of these points. And then what I want to do now is actually just close the survey itself. Oops, 1 second, just need to go here. Yep, perfect. Let's leave this. So the reason I did that is because there may be a situation where you have quite a lengthy survey and you want to allow your end user to be able to come back to the survey at any point and to be able to fill out some information. So now with customer voice, with the new updates, you can do this. So if I go back into my survey and I click my survey link once again, and I can see that all my responses have been saved. Great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, what additional feedback would you like to share with us? I'm just going to give myself, I'm just going to write something negative, say I had a bad time. And let's say, how likely to recommend us to a friend or colleague? I'm just going to give myself 2 for that. Great. So now what we want to do is see how that works, how that affects customer voice. So when I go to alerts, oops, 1 second, let's just give that a refresh. So now you can see that instantly that a new alert has been created, and that alert is from myself because I've just given myself a negative response. So now let's click into the alert itself and I can get a bit more information. The AI system from the Azure AI system has now recognized that the sentiment that I have given is negative. Why is it negative? Because the survey response is I had a bad time. So I could do a few things with this. I can go ahead and resolve this once I've spoken to the contact, or in larger organizations, you might want to allocate certain alert rules to members of your staff. And I can do that such as clicking here, clicking assign. And I just want to assign this to David, as David is the manager of this particular contact. And hit assign. And then what David will see in his Dynamics is that he will see this alert appear. And then what he can do is that he can do what I'm just doing here. He can resolve once he's happy. Once he's spoken to the contact and they've discussed the issues, and he can resolve us saying he is now happy. Great. So now that's been resolved. That's gone into my resolve tab, and that's that full cycle. What I'd like to show you now is what happens in Dynamics. So if I go back to my contacts and I go into myself, I can see 2 new activities are created. Now, the first activity that is created, apart from the invitation, is the survey response. So if I click into my survey response activity, you can see some interesting things. So not only can you see some information around the actual survey and the response URL, you can actually, more importantly, you can see the response details. So this is harnessing a full integration between Dynamics customer voice to be able to allow you to see the responses without actually having to navigate into the customer voice portal. You can also view your satisfaction metrics. This is the one that we set up. You can see the satisfaction metric here is negative. And of course, some of the personalizations I've added the first name and last name to the email and survey, as well as the owner being myself as I sent it out. And then if I go back, I can also view the customer voice alert. So if I navigate into this record, I can see that the record is now read only as I have resolved this, and the record status is now complete. But if this was an open alert, I would be able to make this into a case, because if it's negative, there may be some issues that our support team may be able to fix. But I'm also able to convert it to an opportunity. And this is where what I spoke about earlier around, if you have a sentiment analysis of positive, you may want to have an alert to be able to say this could be a new lead for us, a new opportunity. So you might want to convert that to an opportunity as a result. You can do all that within your survey alerts. So that's custom voice, and that's some of the new updates that have been released. So what I'd like to do now is hand over to David, who's just going to talk a bit more about some of the future updates to Dynamics. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Yash, for that great overview. So we've now had a overview of the new mobile app by Yash earlier. We've seen inside Dynamics some new features by Sam, and I'm now going to be talking over some of the new aspects we're going to be seeing in the coming month. So as you may be aware, there's already an integration between Dynamics Teams and Dynamics 365. So in the current aspect, you can go into a Teams channel and you can add a Dynamics 365 record, you can edit it, you can view it, and you can do everything inside there. So Microsoft are now going to be adding to this. So in the first line, we can see we can edit a Dynamics 365 record from within a Teams conversation. So if you're having a chat with Will or Sam or Yash, any member of the team, you can just add a Dynamics 365 record into there, and then you can go in, edit it, add any additional details and work on it together, all within the concept of Teams. The next point we've got here is create activities on notes. So what this is going to allow you to do is inside this record, you're going to be adding to the timeline. So what you can do here is you can say, I've just had an appointment with a customer. I can add a note in. I can say, this is what we've discussed. And then anyone else that goes into that record, they can see that information. So this is really great to help other members of the team keep up to date with what you're doing with that record. And then finally, you can engage in a Microsoft Teams chat from within Dynamics 365. So we're going to see a nice screenshot here. So what we're currently in is a case inside Dynamics 365, but this could also be an opportunity, a contact, an account, any other record. So as you can see, we've got a nice Teams chat. So we're inside the record, we can go ahead and just chat with people. And in the top right of this image, you can see chats linked to this case. So like I said, this could also be an opportunity. So what this allows you to do is link that one chat in with this Dynamics 365 record and never lose it. So you've got that one-to-one relationship. So if I go away from this record and come back, that chat's still going to be at the top. So you don't have to be sieving through your chats. You can just find it straight out the box. This also allows anyone else to come in and just see that chat, be able to act on any information in there. You can also see you've got your recent chats. So if you're inside Dynamics, you think, oh, I just need some information off Will, I can quickly and easily chat to him without having to switch between two apps. So that's the quick overview of that part. If we could just move on. So the next one we're going to be looking at is a new workspace experience, and this is going to be accessible from the Sales Hub and other custom apps. And we're expecting this to come out in June 2021. As you can see, this is quite a new experience and something you're not going to be very used to. So as you can see, it's quite basic. On the left, we've just got leads, contacts, accounts, and opportunities. So this could be the main aspects of where your salespeople are going to be going to. In the top right-hand corner, you've got some quick create buttons. So you might want to go in and quickly create a note, a phone call, a reminder. So instead of having to go into the opportunity, go to the timeline, click the add button, you can just do it all from this home page and then just link it to the record. So if you've got something straight on your mind, quickly go in, add it without forgetting it. Across the top of the page, you've got some nice figures, so nice in-your-face figures. So you can see the pipeline, the loss, the committed, and the best case. This could also be added to. You can also say you've got your view your detail of this figure. So what this allows you to do is see, where did this figure come from? Where is it generating it from? And in the little figures next to it, you see you've got a percentage. So what this is saying is, are we up or are we down compared to the last period? In the middle of the screen, we're looking at a deal tracker here, so it's a nice bubble chart. So you can see your percentage of winning it, when it's going to close, and the bubble is how much revenue you're expected to pull from this. So this is a nice, easy way of viewing when the opportunities are going to close. So you can say, have we got a few opportunities closing on the same day? Do we need to move these? Do we need to juggle them around to make sure we can complete these successfully? Or do we have any gaps in our timeline? What do we need to do about this? So it's a great overview of your opportunities. And then at the very bottom, we can see we've got an opportunities list. So we've got some basic details, your topic, your account, your close date. And on the far right, you've got a relationship score. So this is saying, is it positive? Is it negative? So as your analytics are going to be looking at your interaction with the customer. Is your last email from the customer negative? Is it positive? How long is it taking you to respond? And lots of other factors. And it's going to say, is it looking good or is it looking bad? So what you can then do is you can look down the list and say, what opportunities really need some working on? If you see the score's negative, you can click in, why is it negative? What have we done wrong? What do we need to do to fix this situation? So it's just a nice quick overview, and it should be really good for your sales guys, this nice page here. If we just go on to the last point. So a real sore point for a lot of Dynamics 365 users is the email interaction. So a lot of people are now just using Outlook or Gmail or another email platform rather than sending it outside of Dynamics 365. So with this new added additions, we're hoping that people will start sending their emails from Dynamics to their customers. This will help with the statistics, any reporting analytics, and anything along those sort of lines. So what we're actually going to get out of these new changes. So we're now going to have custom fonts. So if your company has different fonts not in the Dynamics 365 environment, you can now add these in. You can make them default so people use them out of the box and don't accidentally send using the wrong font. And you can also remove any that you don't want people to be using. So this is really great to make sure that you're following the company procedure. We're also going to be able to edit the HTML. So this will enable you to add any custom boxes, anything really custom. So if you have a HTML generator, you can copy that email into Dynamics and send it straight out without having to do anything extra. These additional features should really help you and help the customer interaction. You're not going to have to be linking it from Outlook into Dynamics. It's just going to be straight in the system. So I've just covered a few aspects that we're expecting to see over the coming months. If you want to see a full list of what's coming out, you can either use this QR code on the screen, or you can go into the chat in a minute and I'll be posting the link to see the full document. I'll be passing you back to Will now, who will cover some additional features.
Brilliant. Thanks, David, for that great overview. So hopefully by this stage, some of, if not all of those features would have resonated with you. So therefore, the next stage would be to explain when to expect these updates and how they can be enabled. The first thing that I wanted to reiterate is what Yash demonstrated so nicely earlier with regards to the new way of accessing your Dynamics 365 system. So the home for all of your business applications across Dynamics and the Power Platform have moved from home.dynamics to office.com. This means that you can access all of your documents, all of your emails and applications all from one place. So simply go to the Office 365 homepage, navigate to the sidebar, open your view of your applications as you can see here. And then from here you can open all apps and as you can see access all of your available Dynamics apps right from this page. So this is an excellent example of one of the greatest benefits of using Dynamics 365 in that everything you need is all on one connected database, making all of your business processes much more efficient. So now, once you're in your Dynamics environment, there are many different ways in which you can enable these features which we've discussed today. So general availability for Wave 1 of 2021 updates will be from the 1st of April 2021, which is next Thursday. So this is when the production deployment will begin, and that is done in the form of regional deployments. So the UK's regional deployment will be on the weekend of the 9th to the 11th of April. So this is when you can start to expect some of these updates to take place. Now, in terms of which updates to expect when, there are many different possibilities. Updates which include changes to the user experience or which are meant for users such as administrators, those are enabled automatically, whereas other features must be enabled or configured by your system administrators in order to be available for your users. The way this is done varies, so what we would recommend is reaching out to us if you have any questions or concerns around this. And likewise, if you would require any further configuration or customization to really make the most of these updates, then naturally we're happy to help ensure a seamless transition once these updates do take place. If you do need to reach out, our contact details will be on the slide at the end of the presentation. And if you'd like a full view, a full list of updates, as David mentioned, you can follow this QR code on the screen right now. And likewise, we'll be posting a link in the chat for you to follow as well and for you to look at in your own time. So now we've looked at some great new features to Dynamics, as well as the next steps for you and your company. The next thing that I wanted to show is some other ways in which you can make the most of your Dynamics platform through the applications, the integrations, and the add-ins that it offers. Now, the first of these is Dynamics 365 Project Operations. This is a relatively new application which combines your sales, resourcing, project management, and finance elements all in one place. So it's a really effective tool for delivering projects on time and on budget with an end-to-end service that provides a single system of engagement for your project sales, resourcing, delivery, and billing teams. On the screen here, we can see our first view of the project operations interface. This view demonstrates the progress tracker on the project named software implementation. Along the side, we have each stage of the project lifecycle, and along the top, we have a timeline, which then creates this excellent flowing view with progress along each bar, which we can see here. As well as this, by clicking on each stage, we can see more details, such as the exact duration, the percentage complete, the individuals involved in that project, and more. So this is a great way to keep up to date with your projects and plan ahead effectively. Our next view of the project operations interface demonstrates a schedule board view. So here we can see a list of each individual in the company with information on their skill set, how much of their time is currently booked up, and which projects they're currently working on and for how long. So all of this functionality gives you an excellent base for all of your projects. And if you would like to find out more how that can benefit your business, then please do get in touch. The next area which I wanted to touch on is omni-channel for customer service. So this is a customizable app which lets you engage with your customers across many different channels, including via chat, via SMS, as well as social channels. So here we can see on the screen the interface for conversations via omni-channel. This is a detailed view on a particular customer where we can see information such as conversation history, recent or current cases, as well as a timeline for all of your interaction with this customer. We can also see here a live chat on the left-hand side, as well as a new chat request in the top right-hand corner with the option to either accept or reject this request. On our next view, we can see the dashboard for the customer service hub. On this dashboard, we have a view of all work items, both open and closed. And on the side, we can see the omni-channel engagement hub, where you can do things like boost your productivity through keyboard shortcuts and message templates, as well as reassign conversations to other agents or view customer information through a customer 360 page. So this really adds another level to your customer service and is constantly being updated to boost its functionality. So the next element which I wanted to touch on is an example of how third-party applications can really bring the most out of your Dynamics platform. The one which we're covering today is Expert Docs Smart Flows. So this is a document generation app which can really streamline elements of your sales processes, project life cycles, and much more. It does this by taking data, content, and templates from within Dynamics, generating a document such as a quote or an invoice, and then sending this out to the required individual. As you can see here, this can also be partnered with other applications such as your e-sign applications, which then adds another level to that automation by allowing the recipient to sign and send back the document all from their computer. So this is one of the many examples of how you can use other applications to streamline your business processes. And again, if you have any questions on how we can use this or any other application to benefit you, then please do get in touch. Great. So the last area I wanted to speak about is the Power Platform, which is a variety of AI-driven low-code apps which can really drive your business forward through deeper insights, increased automation, and extensive customization. Built on the same dataverse as Dynamics, the Power Platform spans Power Automate, Power Apps, and Power BI. We'll start off by taking a quick look at Power Automate and the benefits it can bring to your business. So Power Automate is a powerful tool which allows you to streamline repetitive tasks and paperless processes so you can focus your attention where it's needed the most. This is done using built-in AI capabilities and a simple low-code guided experience to build time-saving workflows using hundreds of pre-built connectors. So here we can see a few examples of the many templates which are available to you in Power Automate. These can be anything from creating simple notifications all the way through to detailed analysis, which can be linked up to Power BI. With over 300 existing connectors, the opportunities really are endless with Power Automate. You may also remember Yash demonstrated this brilliantly earlier by linking it with customer voice, and the flow in the middle is an example of that and how you can build out this functionality. If you'd like something similar for your business or a deeper demonstration on Power Automate and how it can help you, then please do get in touch. Now, the next area I want to touch on within the Power Platform is Power Apps. So Power Apps is an exciting tool which allows you to build custom applications, drive process automation, and create efficiencies suited to your business needs. These apps can be accessed via mobile devices or via the browser and can be used by any employees, thanks again to the low-code nature of the Power Platform. As you can see in the two examples on the screen here, these apps can be anything from a simple way to manage leave requests all the way through to managing complex manufacturing processes and your inventory. Even if you have particular processes that use different parts of the Microsoft universe, Power Apps has the potential to bring them all together in one handy, convenient way for your users. With Power Apps, you can create a Canvas app, a model-driven app, or a portal, dependent on your business needs. Again, Microsoft offers guided learning paths to support on all of this, and likewise, if you do have any other questions or any further support needed, please do let us know. Now, the last area of the Power Platform, which I wanted to touch on today, is, of course, Power BI. Power BI is a fantastic business intelligence tool which helps provide deeper insights into your company's data through AI and through a wide array of data connectors. As you can see here, the two examples demonstrate a wide variety of charts and visuals using Power BI, which update in real time and can be pointed at any data sets to suit your business needs. Using this analytics platform, you can find and share meaningful insights, as well as reduce the added cost, complexity, or security risks of using multiple solutions for this. And with industry-leading data security, you can be safe in the knowledge that your data is secure and your teams are better empowered to drive business growth. Again, if you'd like more information on this or a demonstration of how this can benefit your business, please do get in touch using the contact information on the last slide. So that is the last area that I wanted to cover, and thus brings an end to that segment of webinar. So we hope you have something which you can take away to benefit your business. Now what I wanted to do is pass back over to David, who will be managing the Q&A segment of this webinar.
Thanks, Will. As Will said, we're now going to be moving on to the Q&A section. Thank you to everyone who's submitted your questions so far. I'm going to be going through some of these questions now. I'm going to avoid announcing anyone's names for privacy reasons, but let's get into it. So the first question we've got here is, will these updates apply automatically? So they will be installed automatically on the weekend of the update. However, they won't be visual to the user straight away. So what this will mean is they'll have to be turned on in the back end. So this will have to be done by a system administrator or someone with a higher privilege in the environment. If you need any help with this, please don't hesitate to get in contact. We're more than happy to talk you through that. So the next question we've got is, can everyone access customer voice? Does this cost extra? So if you have a sales enterprise license, you can instantly access customer voice today, and you can start building those surveys that Yash showed earlier. If you have any other license in Dynamics, please get in contact and we can help you with this. You may need to change licenses and we may need to just talk you through the best process of this. But like I said, please get in contact if you want any help with your licenses or if you want any help with setting up those surveys. And if we just go down, okay, the next email we've got here, or sorry, next question we've got here is, can I get my emails to automatically sync to Dynamics? So yes, this is something that you can get to automatically sync. This is done by a tenant basis, so it isn't something that will be just straight out of the box and work straight away. So please get in contact if you want to do that today, and we can help you with that and get that all set up for you. And the last question we've got so far is, when can I access the mobile app? So currently this is still in the testing phase with Microsoft, but it is accessible to you if you want it. So it's not straight out the box of just getting it from the App Store. There's a few more steps involved in the process. But if you're really interested, want to get your hands on it, please get in contact. We can send you the instructions on how to download it on your mobile device. So I think that's all the questions we've got so far. Thank you to everyone that submitted your questions. I'm going to pass you back to Will, who'll be finishing off.
Great, thanks David, and again thanks for submitting those questions. Now we have our contact details on the slide here, so if you do have any further questions, please use those. And that does bring an end to our webinar today. So once again, thank you very much for joining us today. I know we've covered quite a broad area, so we recommend get in touch if you would like advice on which direction to take your Dynamics platform, again using these contact details here. As well as this, your feedback is really appreciated. We have a QR code here for a feedback survey for this webinar, and we can also send that out afterwards. So that brings an end to it. If you would like to review any point of this webinar around any sort of functionality or updates, as mentioned before, a recording will be sent out in the coming days, so please look out for that. Thank you again for joining us, and thanks to David, Sam and Yash for joining me. And we hope to see you on another webinar soon. Thanks.